The Building Blocks Daycare Center on Gordon Drive in Kelowna looks after 200 children. The families of those children found out all of a sudden they've got 7 weeks left. The place is closing down to make way for the construction of an apartment building. So those families of those 200 children all at once have to try to find daycare for their children, and that looks like an impossible task.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard to find alternative childcare in Kelowna, and yeah, it's tough to get into daycares. There's big waiting lists, and we were fortunate to have a part-time spot here, and it was a great daycare, and we're sad that it's closing.
The local Child Care Society, Childhood Connections, that helps families find daycare, doesn't have a lot of good news.
So right now there's a 2-year waiting list for children under 3. So infant, toddler children, there's at least a 2-year waiting list. We're hearing there aren't any spots in the Central Okanagan for children of that age. There are some 3 and 5-year-old spots for children. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be very difficult for those parents from the Building Blocks Educare to find childcare in this short of notice.
So if there are no spots like you're describing, they might be able to find some unlicensed person. What?
Yeah, so in BC, a family, a parent can have their own children plus 2 more. And that's legal. And then we ask them to really get connected with our resources here at Childhood Connections. We host the Child Care Resource and Referral Program, and we have programming that supports unregistered, unlicensed programs. But those are parents that are just have their children plus 2 more, and then they come and get connected with us, just so we can connect them with our resources, connect them with our library and our ECE staff here.
But really, after it kind of sinks in for the families affected by this, if they come walking in your door, the news doesn't sound that good.
No, it isn't. It's going to be quite difficult for them to find a match in this short of notice. We ask parents to get on a wait list as soon as they can to find childcare. We do have gap childcare that we refer them to at our center. It's occasional childcare, drop-in childcare, but it's only 40 hours a month. So it is just gap occasional childcare to get them through until they find their full-time space.
What is the solution here? I mean, we seriously need another large-scale daycare to step in and pick up the slack.
Really hoping that the new development that's going there on the Gordon Center, that Building Blocks was hosting the childcare there, we hope, really hope that there's a plan for a large daycare to be in that development. We heard that there potentially is, but it hasn't been any confirmation that there is going to be a childcare center there.
And if that is concluded in the future development, that's only good news for whenever the buildings finish, which could be, these things can take a couple of years.
Definitely. And there's developments. There's funding for the new spaces that have been opened up with the school district's support. So there's 6 new centers being developed in the next few years. Hopefully by the fall of 2023 they'll be open. But from what we've heard, those are almost all full as well. With their wait list, that they'll be transferring children into those spaces already, so they're full.
Right.
But there is opportunity potentially for those new spaces to support the children that are coming from Building Blocks. But that's again, 6 months to a year down the road.
So these families are going to have to lean on their own extended family and maybe each other, and have to be creative about things in the short term.
Definitely, I think the most frustrating piece for us as supporters of child development in the community is just really feeling for those children who've made those bonds and those connections with their educator, with their friends in their classes, and that's just being completely split apart. And that's really, I think that was really sunk in deep for when you're hearing the interviews on the radio and on TV in the last few days, is those families are really heartbroken, and we're heartbroken for them. We're heartbroken for the children. Really, at the end of the day, it's the kids who suffer the most. Those kids have these great bonds and connections with their educator, with their friends in their classroom, and that's just being completely broken up by this closure, which is really unfortunate, really sad for the community. And there needs to be a better system change that needs to happen. And there has been some great developments in the last 5 years, but it's not coming fast enough, I don't think, in my opinion, especially when you see this happening over and over again. Educators leaving the field burnt out, exhausted, being pulled into different centers for higher paying wages. It's frustrating, definitely.